Assalamualaikum everyone, myself Dr. Mamoona Azhar, the physiotherapist, and today I'm going to deliver a lecture on the subject of biomechanics, and the topic for today's discussion is about structural organization of skeletal muscle. As we all know that there are different types of the muscle in the human body, the smooth, skeletal and cardiac muscle, and the main muscles which are performing our body movements and they are also having the weight in our body, they are the skeletal muscles. So there are around about 434 skeletal muscles on our body, from which these muscles, all of these muscles are having 40 to 45% of the body weight, and the 70 muscles of them, they are responsible for the posture and the body movements. Remaining muscles, they are controlling our eye movement, they are controlling the swallowing and different activities which are performed by the remaining of the muscles of our body. So today we are going to start from this was the basic introduction for the structural organization of the muscle. Now we are going to move toward the detail that what are the structures which are present in the muscle and what are the muscle fibers and sarcolemma and sarcoplasm, etc. So starting from the muscle fiber. Muscle fiber is a basic unit. Single muscle, if we say that the single components which are present in the muscle, that would be known as muscle fiber, and each muscle fiber has its own single thread like structure in our muscle is known as muscle fiber, and each muscle fiber has its own cytoplasm which will be known as sarcoplasm, and its membrane that will be known as sarcolemma. So you guys might be clear about that. The muscle fiber having its own membrane will be known as sarcolemma, and its own cytoplasm would be known as sarcoplasm, and it also have different number of the nuclei and the mitochondria which are present in them. Now moving towards the details of the muscle fiber. Muscle fiber contains the myofibril. Different small thread-like structures are even present in the muscle fiber, and which are having the different kinds of zone. For example, this was a single muscle fiber, and if we transit them, then different kind of myofibrils would come from here. Now we are going to study one single myofibril. The detail of one single myofibril, you guys will know very clearly that what are the functions which are performed by this and how movement or contraction is being produced by the muscle. If we go into the detail of myofibril, there is a sarcomere. Sarcomere is the basic unit of the myofibril that is performing the function, and that is also having a particular structure. Now we are going to assess the structure of the sarcomere, what is being present here. So move from starting from, this is the A band which contains myosin. This is the A band which contains myosin. A band. Now the A band, the myosin is the thick filament, while the I band which will be present on the lateral sides, that will be thin filaments. I band is the thin filament, that is known as actin. Moving or proceeding from here, I band would be containing actin, while A band would be containing myosin. Now, in the center of the I band, two lines are present, which would be known as Z line. So the line which is present, which is cutting our I band, it would be known as the Z line. Z line, Z line. And the central region which is intersecting the two Z line, that would be known as M line. So you guys might be clear about this a bit. This is the A band, this is the I band. In the middle of the I band, Z line is present, and in the middle of the A band, M line is present. So Z lines, two Z lines are making a sarcomere. So this one is a sarcomere, and in between them, the M line is cutting or intersecting this. Now there is a zone which is known as H zone. This zone which is present in the A band, this zone would zone. This zone is known as H zone. Now, how contraction occurs and how these filaments perform some kind of function. The A band consists of myosin, which is a thick filament, while the I band, which consists of actin, which is the thin filament. And I band consists of 6 actin filaments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As you guys see that, then the A band is myosin while the I band is actin. So this H zone is containing the thickest filament, the myosin. Now when this actin, the myosin is present here, this actin will come towards the myosin, and this the H zone, it will diminish and the muscle will come in the contraction form. This is just like if this zone, which is present in the normal position at here, if it moves here and it reaches here and it attaches to the myosin. So when it will proceed forward, what will actually happen? This part will shift forward and these filaments will attach to our myosin. And this part would be coming forward. So this is the side which is representing our contracted muscle, and this is the side where the muscle is not contracted. So you guys might be clear that when the contraction is occurring in the muscle, the I band is coming towards the A band, and the thin filament which is actin, it is being attached to our myosin, and the H zone which was having the thickest myosin, it will be the reason for the contraction, so it will be diminished. This is the way contraction occurs in our muscle. Now moving towards the next thing, now we are going to identify that the muscle fiber has the transverse membrane, and also the a network of membranous channel is being present on each fiber. When they are present externally on the muscle fiber, they would be known as sarcoplasmic retinaculum. But when they are present internally in the transverse manner, they would be known as the transverse membrane. So that sarcoplasmic retinaculum, which is present longitudinally in the external side and transversely in the internal side of the muscle fiber, they are responsible for giving the electrochemicals which are producing the muscle contraction in our human muscles. Now moving towards the layers of the muscle, the layer of the connective tissue which are being present on our muscles. I'm just removing this just to make sure that you guys would understand it easily. For example, this is the muscle fiber. This is a single muscle fiber. I think you cannot see that. This is the single muscle fiber. What's wrong with this? These markers are not working so well. This is the single muscle fiber. The single muscle fiber is having its own sarcolemma, as you guys know that, and it's also sarcoplasm. Then the connective tissue covering which is present on the single muscle fiber, that would be known as endomysium. The single muscle is being covered by the endomysium. So these three muscle fibers were having their own endomysium. Now when there would be a group of the muscle fiber, they will form a fascicle. And this fascicle would be covered by perimysium. So the connective tissue covering which is giving a covering to the fascicle of the muscle fiber, that would be known as a perimysium. Now when there are two perimysium are present here. For example, different perimysium are being present here. there are 3 perimysium. This was the muscle fiber, this is the fascicle of the muscle, and this is the whole muscle. The covering which is being provided to a whole muscle would be known as epimysium. So this one is endomysium, this one is perimysium, and this one is epimysium. Connective tissue covering which is present on the single muscle fiber would be known as the endomysium, which is covering the fascicle of the muscle fiber would be perimysium, and the whole muscle would be known as the epimysium. So this is the way we are going to be clear about this. Now moving towards the last thing, the muscles, human muscles. When we consider the amphibians, when they grow in the size and when they grow in the age, their muscle numbers and size increases. But the human body is different from that. In human body, the muscle number is always inherited. The muscle number cannot be changed. The muscle number which was present at the time of birth, it would be present till the end until the person is experiencing some kind of injury where the muscle is being lost. So the muscle number would remain same, but we can change the diameter and length, and some of the changes are being produced by doing some exercises, some resistance training, and some different kind of performances. By doing some flexibility or stability exercises, they will change the shape or the diameter of the muscle, but not actually the presence of the number of the muscle. So this was all about today's lecture. Thank you so much.